There is a rule whispered among the old warrior texts, a rule so severe that even samurai avoided speaking it aloud, a rule that doesn't demand strength, discipline, or even courage, but something far more terrifying: the surrender of the one thing you cling to most. The exiled samurai swore never to break this rule, and it turned him into the kind of man the modern world can no longer intimidate. There is a man you might recognize. He lives quietly, works hard, wants to improve, and yet every day he loses the same battle. He wakes with determination, and by afternoon he negotiates with himself until all resolve disappears. He promises he'll start tomorrow. He convinces himself he's tired. He waits for motivation to return. His life becomes a string of almosts: almost disciplined, almost consistent, almost the person he knows he could be. And each night he feels the weight of unmade decisions tightening around him. Modern advice tells him to be kind to himself, to take a break, to trust the process. But the old warriors of Japan had a different opinion. They believed this man was suffering for one reason only. He still feared losing the soft life he had built around himself. The exiled samurai would tell him, "You are negotiating with life because you have not accepted death." Not literal death, but the symbolic death of the weaker identity you keep protecting. In the warrior schools of old Japan, there was a principle whispered during the most difficult training: Katsu Jin Ken, the sword that gives life, not by protecting the body, but by destroying the parts of you that stand between you and mastery. Samurai believed that when a warrior truly accepts death, not as an event, but as a daily companion, he becomes untouchable. Fear evaporates, hesitation dissolves, distractions lose their power, and discipline becomes effortless because nothing remains to negotiate with. The exiled samurai lived this truth in the harshest way. After losing his honor and his place, he entered the mountains with only one vow left: I will not cling to the man I used to be. He walked the path of Shai no Michi, the way of death acceptance. To the world it looked like punishment, but to him it was purification. This was the rule he swore never to break. Never protect the identity that keeps you weak. Kill it before it kills your future. Inside every person, a silent war unfolds. Not between good and evil, but between who you are and who you pretend you are. Your biology wants comfort. Your mind wants avoidance. Your emotions want safety. So every time you try to rise, your body drags you backward. Every attempt at discipline becomes a battlefield. The samurai understood this. They believed the true enemy was not the opponent on the field, but the voice inside that begged for an easier path. Modern psychology calls this cognitive dissonance, the battle between your goals and your habits, your intentions and your instincts. To a samurai, this inner conflict was a form of dying, a slow, agonizing death of the man you wish to become, killed by the man you refuse to let go of. The exiled samurai saw this war clearly. He knew that the weaker identity does not surrender peacefully. It must be cut away piece by piece. The warrior's solution was brutally simple: choose one path and commit to it completely without looking back. This wasn't motivation. This wasn't willpower. This was identity. The samurai called this Ishin, the one heart, the devotion to a single direction with no escape routes. Modern minds resist this because we live in a world of infinite choices, infinite comforts, infinite ways to avoid choosing, but a warrior could not afford such luxury. A scattered mind was a dead mind. A divided identity was a defeated identity. This is why the exiled samurai abandoned his past life entirely. He burned the bridges behind him, not out of despair, but out of discipline. When you remove the option to retreat, progress becomes inevitable. Samurai training revolved around one sacred law: practice must continue without gaps, because every gap, every skipped day, every moment of "I'll start again tomorrow" is where weakness regrows. They compared discipline to keeping a blade sharp. Steel does not stay sharp simply because you sharpened it once. It stays sharp because you refuse to let it dull. Modern neuroscience confirms this. The brain myelinates whatever you repeat. Every time you act with discipline, You strengthen the identity of the disciplined self. Every time you avoid the work, you strengthen the identity of the avoider. The exiled samurai lived this truth in exile. He trained every day not out of passion, but out of self-respect. He believed that letting even a single day slip was a form of spiritual decay. To him, consistency was not a habit, it was a vow, a silent oath he carried like a blade. Warriors did not wait for obstacles. They pre-decided their actions long before challenges appeared. Before battle, they prepared contingencies for fear. Before winter, they prepared for hunger. Before temptation, they prepared for weakness. This is what the samurai called ketsui, the decision made before the moment arrives. Modern people wait for emotions, they wait for motivation, they wait for clarity. But the exiled samurai made choices in advance. If chaos comes, I stand firm. If weakness comes, I cut it away. If fatigue comes, I continue. This wasn't arrogance, it was identity reinforcement. A warrior who pre-decides cannot be broken by surprise. You can do the same. Before you travel, decide your routine. Before the stress hits, decide your reaction. Before temptation whispers, decide your refusal. The strongest warriors were not the most talented, but the most pre-committed. At the end of his exile, when he finally walked out of the mountains, the samurai who returned was not the same man who entered. He had died many times. Every morning he killed his excuses. Every afternoon he killed his distractions. Every night he killed the softer version of himself that begged to be protected. And through these daily deaths, a new identity emerged. Not flawless, not invincible, but unbreakable. This is the rule he swore never to break. Do not cling to who you were. Let that version of yourself die so the disciplined self can live. If you can accept the death of your weaker identity, you will understand what the ancient warriors meant when they said that liberation begins where fear ends. And then, discipline won't be something you force. It will be something you are. If this philosophy resonates with you, subscribe for more lessons from the exiled samurai and the path of Japan's ancient Bushido death acceptance.